Panther Nation, welcome back to Inside the Jungle, your weekly talk show dedicated to all things Bay Area Panthers football. I'm your host, Christina Tetreault, and I'm here in downtown Morgan Hill in front of Sushi Confidential, where I'm about to sit down with head coach Rob Keefe to discuss the team's most recent game against the San Diego Strikeforce, unfortunately their second loss of the season, but also look ahead and talk about the preparations the team is making as they are going to take on the Duke City Gladiators this upcoming Saturday, June 22nd. Let's go. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about. We just came off of a very intense game. But before we dive into those intense topics, let's get some food.
Sure, let's eat.
Okay. San Diego Strikeforce.
Yep.
Beat us at home.
Beat us.
43-42.
Yep.
The inevitable question. How do you feel?
Well, losing is not fun, I'll tell you that. I don't like to lose. I don't think the people that we have in this organization like to lose, but it's part of the process of winning. And that's, at the end of the day, if we lose a battle to ultimately win the war, I'll take it any day of the week. The goal is not to go 16-0 in the regular season, win championships, run the table in the regular season. But if this is part of the process of winning, we'll take it. But yeah, it stings for the initial, but ultimately we'll learn from it and we'll grow from it.
Absolutely. And with all that being said, let's get some food in our belly. So discussing a loss is, doesn't sting as badly.
Yes.
So final score, 43-42. Last kick, very tough. Got 2 points. Describe to everyone who maybe did not watch the game what the final quarter was like.
Well, San Diego did a really good job adjusting in the second half. Nate Davis is a really good quarterback. One of these guys calls his own plays. I've battled him for a very, very long time.
Right.
My whole professional life has been, my adult life, I should say, has been involved in professional football, and Nate Davis has been there every step of the way. So we have
into his 30s.
Absolutely, 38 years old. We got, great mutual respect for each other. So we were having our battle back and forth. And then we really just didn't really execute as well as we'd like to offensively. Defensively, we did a really good job, came up short at the end there. Look, ultimately it's a team sport, right? I mean, everybody's in this together. We're not going to blame one side of it. I will never do that. But, they just, finished the fourth quarter, and we didn't. We had an opportunity to close the game out. We just needed to get a first down at the end there, and we didn't execute. And so, the talks today and this week so far have been, as a coach, you assess everything, right? Is it play calling? Is it schematics? Is it technique? Is it the personnel that's out there? Is it the effort and the energy? Is it pressure? All those things kind of, come into play, and we evaluate everything. And ultimately, we just didn't close the game out. And we gave them the ball back. Nate Davis was able to score with 19 seconds left. We still had an opportunity to win the football game. We felt like we set up our kicker in good position to win the game, and we just pushed it right. That's unfortunately part of the game. We lost 43-42. If you really look at the stats, they stopped us 6 times. We only stopped them 5 times, so that's how close the game was. But there's a lot of things within the game. It wasn't just one play. Ultimately, it's a cumulative, comprehensive, a loss on our part, and a lot of factors played into that, and we just came up short.
We've discussed San Diego, their strategy, but also just their fierceness when it comes to defending. They also have quite impressive statistics when it comes to the margins of which they've lost throughout the past season. Prior to this game and now into this game, what are those margins? Because they're very, very small.
Well, look, they're 12 points away from being now, 12-0. And so they've been in a lot of close games. And so they're battle tested, right? And I mean, that's really what it is. When you're in a lot of close games, you know what it now takes to win close games. So, they lost a few games by 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. So they've been in every single game. And that's just, look, that's a product of good coaching. It's a product of a really aggressive defense. They play the run really well. They mix up coverages really well. They're extremely physical. They got a great quarterback. He knows how to manage the game. I mean, this is a playoff team. And
right.
So for us, when I first saw the schedule come out, we play them 4 times. And so we beat them the first 2. We beat them by 3 points the first time, and we beat them by 1 point the second time, and here we lose by 1 point. So this is a back and forth game. I mean, this is professional football. It's really difficult to win games. I think anybody in professional football will tell you that no game is a given. and we play them at the end of the season. And I promise you that game in San Diego is going to be for playoff positioning. Hopefully for us it'll help us get the number 1 seed. For them, it might be the 3 or 4 seed, maybe even the 2nd seed. You just never know how this is going to plan out. But both teams will be ready. Completely respect them, and they respect us, and that's why teams prepare hard for us. I think the biggest stat for me, for anybody watching, anybody listening, we're the least penalized team in the league. And when we play teams, there's another stat that shows that any team that plays us is the least penalized team for that week. So every team plays us the best. And so we get everybody Super Bowl. That's not a knock on other teams.
Right.
That's just the respect factor that teams have for us. We're the defending champions. Why would you not play us hard?
Right.
And so it's a learning experience for a very young team. But again, no excuse. We were a young team last year, won the championship. We were a young team the year before when I was in Northern Arizona, won the championship. And so this is part of the process of growing. It sucks, losing hurts, especially when you put so much effort and energy. But ultimately, if it helps us win a championship, I'll take it any day of the week.
We will, without a doubt, talk about the culture this week, the feelings, also the big push to our next game this upcoming week, this upcoming Saturday. But before we do that, how does ultimately our this past game and our loss, how does that impact us in regards to the rest of the season with everyone else's moves as well?
Sure. So right now we're 9-2. Vegas is 8-3. Arizona is 8-4. Northern Arizona is 7-4. San Diego 7-5. San Antonio 6-5. So on and so forth. So it's right there. I mean, it's a great conference. It's extremely competitive, which I love, right? And so, the fans watching at home, the quarterback Nate Davis leaned over to me with about 30 seconds left and just said, "Man, I love playing against you." And I said the same thing. I love competition. That's just. I mean, I love it. I love it. I love playing against great coaches. I mean, that's just. I thrive off of it. And the more competitive this league is, the better it gets, right? And that's how this grows as a league. And so ultimately, the goal is internally for an organization is to win the championship, to put as many fans in the seats as possible, obviously become profitable, whatever, be the best for the community and so on and so forth. But as a league, we want to have great games, and we want to build this as best we possibly can with great fans and great sponsors and, national sponsorship and national audiences. And so that only happens with competitive nature. So to answer the question, we're all right there. And so for us, we're still in the number 1 seed. We're still in the driver's seat. We're still the pace setter. But again, I mean, we have Duke City twice. We got Vegas again. We got Northern Arizona again. We got San Diego again for the 4th time. And so this is, we have 3 playoff teams in the next 5 games. And so we have to get better. And ultimately, we got to control what we can control. And that's with our execution and practice to make sure that we're prepared, every Saturday and Sunday.
All right, let's make sure that you definitely get some food as we discuss this because, these are some intense topics.
Yes.
Okay, when it comes to leading into this week and the schedule, how does coming off of a loss change the atmosphere in the locker room? How does it change the preparation for the next week? This is a similar conversation that we had around our first loss with Vegas. Obviously, there's intensity with the coaches, but how does that change the complexity of the week, if at all?
Well, here's the deal. It shouldn't change anything.
Okay.
Right? And I think that's what young coaches learn. I think that's what young teams learn. For me, it should be the same thing every day. Ultimately, your process will create the progress.
Sure.
And so if you have great preparation, if you have great aptitude to every single day, the outcome is going to be a win. And so the results, if you're results-based, it's about the process that gets you there. So Monday through Friday helps you win Saturday. If you're just looking to be outcome-based, you're just hoping to get a win. It's never going to happen that way. You have to make sure that your processes and procedures are in place to win games like any other business. I mean, this is what this is. I mean, if you're going to, make the sale, you got to plan and you got to work the plan. And so that's just how it goes. So for us, though, look, with a young team, a loss, to answer your question, what it does is it ramps everybody up. And so, everybody's on alert. It heightens everybody. I promise you practice will be more intense this week. It helps you focus on ultimately what you need to strengthen. We have some weaknesses that we have to make sure that we focus on and we make sure that we rectify. And so my job is, again, to assess everything from top to bottom. And now make no mistake, though, if we won the game, I'd still be doing the same thing.
Right.
And so we're not happy with where we're at right now. We're content. It's cool to be 9-2. It's awesome, but ultimately we have to get better, and that's what it is. Are we getting better? And I don't want to plateau. I don't want to regress. Whether it's one side of the ball or the other, it's about everybody. Everybody has to take care of their business, and so there's some guys right now that are on their toes because they know they have to perform better.
Sure.
They have to make sure they perform under pressure, with more certainty. It was good talks. It was good, honest talks. Never to degrade. We're not going to beat anybody down. I don't do that. But throughout the week, we'll assess, we'll apply, we'll execute, we'll perform, and then we'll build everybody back up to make sure that we come out with a win on Saturday.
What are some high points? What are some of the positives that were highlighted in the game?
Well, look, I thought there were some players that really performed well. Joe Fouché had two interceptions. Morris Joseph Jr. had 2 sacks. I thought the defense played really well. Ultimately, but again, a team sport, right? And so we came up short. But there were some players individually that I thought did a really, really good job. Josh Tomas was really starting to shine. He's really to kind of come to his own. But we just ultimately have to perform better. They really stopped us in the run game. They put us in a lot of 3rd and 4th and longs. We didn't execute. In the 3rd and 4th situations, we were 3 of 8 on 3rd downs. Daquan Neal with a great throw on 4th down, though. So there is ability there.
Sure.
I know that we have the ability to execute. We just have to be more consistent in that. And then again, we get that last first down. Hey, it's all smiles when we're talking here, but at the end of the day, there's still some little things in there that we have to work on, and we just have to play better complementary football. We got a turnover, but then we didn't convert off the turnover, and those are big things. We didn't score last before the half in the second half. We didn't score last, before in the first half. Like, we had opportunities there. We got stopped 6 times. So with that being said, we put up 42 points. There was an ability to score 84 there. So there's a lot that was left out there, and that's
a lot on the table.
Yeah, without a doubt. And that hurts players. Again, long film sessions today. Really kind of inner looks, right? Look in the mirror. What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? But again, not to beat people down. It's just honest assessment. And
reflection time.
Without a doubt, and that's what football does to you. But again, we should be doing that at a win as well. And so that's kind of what we're going to start doing here. And I think that's as you grow as a player, you're really. It's never as bad as you think it is. It's never as good as you think it is. And the job's not complete until you win the championship. So still a lot of growing there. But again, it's never effort and energy. Like, our players play really hard. Like, we have the right people in the building. It's just a matter of, I think, execution at the end. And you got to simulate pressure on all accounts, through practice. And sometimes I got to, I'm not their friend. At the end of the day, I'm their coach. And so I'm going to give them what they need. And this week we got to apply a little bit more pressure so we're prepared for those moments.
Now, this past game was played on a Sunday. Our next game is played on somewhat of a regular Saturday, but it's also a travel week.
Yes.
You and the team have early travel Friday morning, play on Saturday evening, Duke City. So how does having one less day for preparation as well as having a travel week, how does that impact everything, and how does that impact how you coach, if any?
That's a good question. So the impact the most is when you have a travel day, which is really a lost day, and you play on a Sunday, which we just did, you really lose 2 days. So if you're home from Saturday to Saturday, you have more time to rest, and you don't have to lose a day in preparation from the travel. So really, it's about the health of the players. So we assess the players. I mean, look, it's physical football, right? So guys get banged up all the time. And
3rd quarter of the season.
Without a doubt, right? So guys are sore. I mean, there's a big difference of being injured, hurt, and sore, right? And so we have guys that are injured. Everybody's sore, and then you have to make a decision of, like, are you hurt or sore? And we have to then assess that quickly throughout the week. Are the players going to be ready by Friday to travel? Because if you're not, we can't take it on the road trip.
And also not just Friday. First thing Friday.
Without a doubt. First thing, early Friday morning, we're out. Bus picks us up, 5:30 in the morning. We hit a flight at 8 o'clock. We'll be in Albuquerque by noon. I mean, that's just how this works, right? So we travel very professionally. I always say this, really happy for the ownership that we don't bus anywhere. We're not that kind of team. We fly everywhere we go, so it helps with the travel, helps with our bodies. But nevertheless, like, we have to make sure that we just, I guess to answer the full question is, it affects us in the short amount of time that you have to prepare. So there's less days to practice, there's less days to recover, there's less time to watch film. But we're professionals at this. I mean, we're going to be prepared. Ultimately, we'll take the healthiest players that we have, and again, that's why I think we have great depth on our team. So whoever can and can't play, and we might be healthy. I mean,
Sure.
that's just, you just never know who's feeling good from one day to the next. I mean, every coach will give you this answer. I mean, I don't feel like, we're hurting on that end. Guys are starting to come back from injury, which is great. So if one guy needs a break, one guy steps
Sure.
up, one guy comes off injured reserve, one guy goes back on it. So you just never know what's going to happen. But that's really short weeks. It's just less time to prepare and less time to recover. But at the end of the day, everybody at this stage of the season is going through that. Ultimately we'll be ready regardless.
I would also assume this is where the benefit of having that depth of the bench is really
Sure.
important.
And that's having we don't have practice players. Everybody on our team has the ability to be a starter. That's the way that we build it. We create competition within our own team. And so when one guy needs a break, another guy steps up, and then hopefully the guy steps up so well that he never relinquishes that. Because it's going to be, you should make it hard for the person to come back and take that spot. So that's the kind of competition we want to build. Healthy competition.
Right.
But nevertheless, I mean, we want to never miss a beat regardless of who's out there.
Okay, leading into our away game, what are we looking forward to? What are the benefits of the team having this time away in regards to team building and team culture?
Sure. Sometimes you got to get away, especially after a loss. You just got to, kind of clear your head. And sometimes when you see new things and you're able to, kind of just take a break and kind of create a new atmosphere, a new situation. Sometimes that is healthy. But Duke City, for those who don't know, I mean, it's a mile high. I mean, that's up there. This is altitude's going to be a factor. Heat's going to be a factor. When you're high up in altitude, there's an oxygen problem, which means you got to hydrate. You got to make sure you're properly rested, and you got to be prepared. You got to be in shape. So that's going to be a big factor. But yeah, we do team building stuff. But we're there so quickly. I mean, it's a business trip. And I'm a very militaristic guy. I mean, it's like kind of like you go in, you fly in, you drop out of the helicopter, you do the job, you get back on the helicopter, they fly you back out. I mean, that's just how I look at it. And so you're there on a business trip, and you're there to kind of secure the target, and then you get the win, and then you move on. And so hopefully that's the case. Obviously all respect to Duke City. But we do a lot of team building stuff, and really it's based around food. I mean, that's really what it is. When the guys are breaking bread, we're in restaurants, and just having that time, the camaraderie time, and as a coach too, I kind of sit off in the corner because I want them to have their team building experience. Coaches sit together to let the players just be players. So there's a lot of things that we do, and it's good too when you go on the road because you realize respect to the opposing team, but when you go in environments that people are rooting against you, it kind of brings the closeness together. And so that's what I like about it too, that nobody in that building is going to be rooting for us when we go play in Albuquerque. And so it kind of creates this bond, it creates this closeness. And I'm excited for the challenge. I'm excited to win on the road, and I'm excited to play on the road and to see our guys kind of rise to the challenge.
Now, you talked about the closeness of players in those moments, especially breaking bread together. Also, what a great environment that we get to speak football each week, breaking bread, if you will, here at Sushi Confidential. Just gives that comfortable environment. When I think about the comfortability that sitting together and having that time over food in a 2-in-1, right? Like you get great time together, but you also need to nourish yourselves.
Sure.
How does that create a bond with you and the other coaches?
Well, look, we're at the end of the day, like what they say with your original family, you can't choose your family. But when it comes to this stuff, like you can choose your friends, right? And your friends become your family depending on how close you are. So these guys are at that stage now where they trust us so much, which I appreciate. They trust all the coaches. Coaches trust each other. We have a great bond, great loyalty within our organization. And then ultimately, like you realize that it's the ultimate team sport. And I think this last past game shows it. It's not the offense's fault. It's not the defense's fault.
Right.
It's not the special teams' fault. It's all of us. And so, it's a true community because you need everybody. This isn't golf. This isn't tennis. It's you're not out there by yourself. This is. It's the ultimate team sport. I mean, everybody on the field is doing a job to make, obviously, just one play work.
Sure.
And so it creates a bond. It creates a closeness where you have to rely on each other. So the closer our team is, the more love and the more friendship and the more bonding there is, the better our team will be. And so I've been on teams before as a player that, like, a lot of people just didn't like each other. And that's not conducive to winning football games. And so, I even learned what not to do.
Sure.
As I was coming up in my professional career of this is how you build a team. And it's got to be a lot of people that have the same mission, have the same goals, and so there's not one person in that building today that was happy that we lost that football game. And so, if there was, they wouldn't be here. They're just not the right kind of guys, but we have the right people. And so I think everybody got the point. And so they're going to enjoy, I think, getting away together and just winning again. And so that's hardest thing about football is it's one game a week. Baseball, hockey, basketball, you got a few a week, so you can kind of oh, let me just play again.
Right.
Let me get a win.
More opportunity.
Without a doubt. So you got to, I mean, this thing just festers and this just things too. Now, my job too is like not to let the hangover last too long. You know, I used to do that as a younger coach where I would just be on people for a long time and then I would let that loss linger because I was so irritated that we lost. But, you know, I've learned to kind of, hey, you know, let's learn from it, let's flush it, let's build back up. And so that building back up process is going to be right there to bubble for a Saturday night game, and excited for the challenge.
What benefits have you seen making that switch in your coaching? From when you were mentioning being a younger coach and letting that fester a bit longer, what benefits have you seen?
Well, for me too, like emotional control. You know, I mean, that's really what it is as a young coach or a young person. I mean, look, I'm a kind of guy too. If I lose at a board game, like with my family, like I might ruin Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like that's just how I am. You
What's
know what
a board game? What's a board game?
I mean, Monopoly, Candyland, Chutes and Ladders. I mean, we can all of them. And so, you know, I learned to not flip the board over if I lost. You know,
generally,
that's without a doubt. So, but
except if it's your siblings.
You know, it's tough, man. It's tough. I don't like to lose, and so, but again, it helps. That's why I win. I won't lie about that. You know, I hate losing. I might not talk to you for 3 or 4 days if you beat me in a card game. That's just how I am. So, I think the guys understand that. You know, being ultra competitive is a great thing when you're a professional football player. Like that's. I mean, we can take it as far as the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants and the Tom Bradys. I mean, we can really, really take it to that level.
That's that factor of making it of the difference.
That's the difference. And so if you really want to be great at something, I mean, there is just something that is inside of you that you just never want to lose. Now, with that, to answer your question, what I've done is now let's apply that to your everyday process. Instead of letting it just sit there and you're stewing and you're mad, put it in action, right? Put it in 100%. Put it in action. What do we need to do? How do we need to do it? How do we get back on the saddle? How can we apply it? And it's just a very intentful process of just being great in terms of how we watch film. So, you know, ultimately, this is teaching younger players too. Let's be purposeful in our actions.
Sure.
What did we do last week to lose this game throughout the Mondays and Fridays? How can we be better? And so, yeah, practice will be ramped up. Guys will be running around faster. Guys will be watching film a little bit more. Guys, without a doubt. And so that's what I want to see, and then continue to make that a habit every single day until the championship's won.
Okay, now leading into our away game, what strengths does this team bring to the table that we need to prepare for, and what type of team are we about to play?
Notice how I'm not eating a lot.
Yes, okay. I do.
I'm irritated. And I appreciate you asking these questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
I eat when I'm happier. You know?
Okay, but I feel like you need food when you're not as happy.
I know. I'll eat. I'll have
Probably,
a bite.
you know, I think carbs also help a lot of things, you know?
Yeah.
On a quick side note, I would like everyone to know here at the table for Sushi Confidential, each week we are so lucky when it comes to, not lucky, we are so fortunate, truly, on top of that, that we get to choose what the table is adorned with. And I would like everyone to know that one of these rolls is actually called the Blonde Bombshell, and it is known to be one of the spiciest. So just a heads up on that.
Well, I'm glad you told me now.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, I already eat that.
Yeah, so you're fine. Okay,
fine.
Great. But, you know, just in
you
regards...
You got to tell me that before, though.
No.
Right.
Yeah, I just feel like maybe
Could've
that's
ruined
something...
the show.
Well, I figured maybe that's something that you learn on camera,
Right.
and we just roll with it. You know, for continuity purposes, maybe less reaction. You know? But I'll let you enjoy that one.
Fair enough.
As someone who can't handle spice myself, I will just... I'll stay over here with the avocado. Yeah. But, you know, carb and protein really helps the blood sugar with strong emotions. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. But also we have soy sauce. We have since learned that is one of your favorites. Videographer Chris always has it prepared.
I appreciate Chris for that.
Thank you so much.
Would you like some?
I'm okay. Thank you so much. I go for the teriyaki sauce.
Okay.
And then I use that if I want to, yeah.
You got it.
Okay, so benefits. We already discussed the team going away. So when it comes to, again, who we are up against, what are the benefits that they bring? What are the strengths that they bring that we are about to see, knowing that everyone's going, again, to give us their best?
Right.
And how are we preparing for that?
So Duke City's a team that's struggling right now. And, again, respect all, fear none. That's just how we roll in our building. That there is a respect factor that we are going to get everybody's best. And so they're 1-10 right now. Word on the street, their head coach just was released. And so that'll come out here as the week goes on. And so with that said, the next coach that steps up, who they, was their assistant head coach, has been around there, before, has coached in professional football, coached in the NFL. He's a good coach. The danger is now, that ultimately they don't care about the record. And this, again, is their Super Bowl. I don't mean that to build us up or an ego thing, but that's just what it's going to be. And so we're going to get their best. There's a lot of players on their team that wanted to be here with the Bay Area Panthers. There's 2 players on their team that were here last year. One that we got hurt with us in camp, unfortunately, that we didn't bring back. a player that won the championship with us, then bring back. So there's a lot of animosity there. That's just how that goes. And there's a let me show you mentality. When we're 9-2, a team is 1-10. It's at their home place. Again, they could care less who we are.
Right.
Professional football is tough, and so regardless of who you play, we can't get caught, slipping, for lack of a better term. And so, I think when your head coach gets fired, the organization is making a statement to, hey, this is unacceptable. We're not going to do that. Obviously, it's for their fan base. Next coach wants to come in to prove that he's worthy, and so there's going to probably
a lot of drive there,
without a doubt. And so, based on his background, there's going to be a lot more organization. I think preparation is going to be at a high level this week for them. Players are going to probably see a little bit more structured practice based on kind of what I already know about the situation. So they're going to be ready for us, without a doubt. And so we have to make sure that we're playing our brand of football, and we got to get back to the winning track. And so we can't let this become habit forming, and we can't get caught slipping, and we can't lose 2 in a row. And there has to be a better sense of urgency. We got to start fast. And so, but again, good football team. But yeah, they are struggling. That's not a it's not a secret. But at the end of the day, we got to take care of our business.
You once said a losing team is a desperate team.
Yeah, so, okay, with that being said, then a desperate team is a dangerous team. And so right now they're desperate for wins. Obviously a new head coach in place wants to show what he can do. There's players. Anytime you have the goal of a lot of players in this league, obviously, is to win the championship, but it's also to get the highest level possible. And so there's NFL scouts, there's UFL scouts, there's CFL scouts, there's scouts at higher levels that are taking looks at our players. So all it takes is one game to have that great highlight film to show out. And so every player is trying to do the best they can every single week. And that's what makes this brand of football competitive, in my opinion, because there are higher levels of football for them to aspire to. So if a team and a player on other teams can have great games against us, hey, NFL scout, let me show you what I did against the Bay Area Panthers.
Right,
So
highlights and amplifies.
Without a doubt. And so we really get everybody's best, and that's a testament to us. That's a testament to, I think, them recognizing the situation. And so we got to be prepared for that. And, again, with altitude and heat in a rowdy environment, we got to make sure that we're ready to roll. Okay,
so a little bit off the field. When it comes to our fan base with the Bay Area Panthers, a lot of dedicated fans who know us since our 1-15 very first season. A lot of fans who also know us from we were supposed to be the Oakland Panthers back in 2020 pre-pandemic. What I'd like to know is, in the week where there is an away game that we're also coming off of a loss, what can our supporters do differently to support us in a week like this, when stakes are a bit higher, when we're coming off a loss, and also when we're going into an away game?
We want you to watch the game. We want you to support us. And so my family does too. Like back on the East Coast, all these players' families. So the Indoor Football League has a YouTube channel. Go on YouTube, type in the Bay Area Panthers. It'll come up. All of our games will come up. It'll be live, which is awesome. And you can
also hit notifications on there, especially if you subscribe to the IFL account.
Without a doubt. And so, you can comment in real time, and fans are engaging, and they're engaging in the game, and that's what it is.
Comments are actually usually the best.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's interactive. It's really cool. And then you can kind of see, what we do on the road, and you can stay active, and you can start to get to know your players. That's a different way to really watch the game. And we love everybody coming to the games. That's why I don't like losing at home. Especially, on Father's Day, I wanted to win that football game. But it also shows the bond that we have with our fans, that we really support our fans because our fans support us. We don't want to lose any game for them. And then we love the support on the road. It's great.
Amazing. So they can go ahead and watch us, and then of course they can always watch the show here, BayAreaPanthersNetwork.com, our website, which we will also link everything to as well. What's the best way that our fans can also support individual players throughout the weeks, whether it's a win or a lose?
My way is like, hey, find the guys on social media. Really, they're interactive. They want to know you. It's really cool when I get to talk to some of the players, like, hey, what did you do on your day off? And some of the people, oh yeah, hey, I had a family that took me hiking. I'm like, what? It's like, that's pretty cool, And then so, they're going around town. They're starting to really explore. They're starting to really get to know the Bay Area. A lot of guys have been going up to San Francisco, kind of seeing all the cool stuff. They go to San Jose. They're kind of just in and around town. And again, with all the appearances that they're seeing, they're starting to really see the schools, and they're starting to meet families that way, and they're starting to get to know kids, and before you know it, they're creating bonds. What eventually I'd like to happen is these guys, move here. And these guys live here in the off season. It kind of creates that bond with the community, and then we can have them back for next year. That's kind of a recruiting tool because they start to love the area so much. I love the area too. So yeah, support them on social media, support them on the website, support them in the games. Come to our games, get to know them. After the game is over, the players are signing autographs on the field. You really get to interact with them. And what I was again, I kind of have to take a step back because I'm in, after a loss, I'm not maybe thinking the clearest in terms of what the players are doing with the fans. But I was really impressed to see the players stay out there and sign autographs.
Yes.
That's something, for me, I was never like that, and I won't lie about that. I'm the first one off the field. I'll shake a hand or two, and then I'm out. But a lot of the guys stayed out there, and I respected that. And so we waited to kind of have our team talk after because the players were still out there signing autographs. So it shows the bond that our players on this team have with the fans, and they'll still stay out there and put a smile on their face and sign autographs. So. But again, 9-2, and so support these guys because we got big plans ahead.
We actually just before filming this sat down with Antoine Kincaid, and he made a really sweet mention, completely unprompted, about how much he loves living here, and he very specifically mentioned how much he loves Morgan Hill, and that he was wearing a Panthers polo, and he made a mention of one of the best things about this that makes specifically this organization so great is the fact that we can be somewhere wearing our Panthers gear or not, but more often wearing the Panthers gear, and he says immediately wherever you go, whether it be Walmart, the gym, what have you, people are always talking about being the fact that that's a Bay Area Panther, and especially the kids, and how impactful that is, not just for future recruiting, but in regards to just lives of seeing people, professional athletes out and about being so accessible. So he made a mention of that, about that being so unique to his organization, but also how much it means to him as an athlete to have that, which is very special.
It's special. It's awesome to see. I mean, look, for me, again, my whole adult life has been involved in professional football, and so the lower 48 states I've played in, or coached in every single game or driven through or whatever it is. And so these guys are at that stage where they're starting to kind of experience new things at, they're 23, 24, 25, 26. And so they're starting to really explore the country because football is taking them to all these new places. And so, I know where a lot of these guys come from, and, Morgan Hill is a really peaceful place for a lot of these guys. And it's a good place to focus. It's a good place to clear your head, and it's a good place to just feel a good sense of community. And I love that they have those feelings.
And one thing that I think is so incredible is just the community support. Of course, we sit here every week in downtown Morgan Hill at Sushi Confidential. A huge thank you to the restaurant, Sushi Randy, for always having us. And then also one of our really large sponsor, Visit Morgan Hill, making sure that we have not just places for the players to live, but overall are supporting the entire organization. So a huge thank you to Visit Morgan Hill and also the Morgan Hill Sports Complex.
This wouldn't exist without Morgan Hill. I mean, I love Morgan Hill. I love everybody in Morgan Hill. I love the people that help us in Morgan Hill, and that's the first thing I tell the players when they come in. This is like our campus, right? If you kind of put it into
a great way to put it.
Yeah, into like a university kind of standpoint. That it's we practice here, we work out in gyms here, we live here, we eat our food here, like everything
is based around
our
that.
front office is here, and we're able to logistically be the best football team we can be because of what they provide for us. So I'm completely in debt to Morgan Hill. We could not win a championship without Morgan Hill, and a big reason why we won last year was because of what Morgan Hill has done for us.
Absolutely. Coach, any topics that we have not brought up so far that you want to make sure we mention before the end of the show?
No, I think, look, hey, you lose and you learn from it, right? And I think at the end of the day, it's a good learning lesson for all of us. Hey, sometimes, like I said, you lose a battle to ultimately help you win the war. And so, right now, I think the biggest thing is, look, we got to overcome adversity, right? Anybody that has experienced success at one time in their career has to persevere in some way, some form, and you have to overcome the adversity. I'm excited to see what our players are doing. I'm going to ramp it up this week. But again, love the support from the fans. I love everything we're doing. Social media, you guys are doing an amazing job, right? This is starting to get really amplified, and it's only going to get better from here, and looking for a lot more wins. And, as of today, it's 60 days to the championship game. So
officially today.
Yeah, so
60 days.
We're rocking and rolling. So, this is going to get really good real quick. And so we want all the fans' support so they get really pumped up. And, we do this together as a community.
Absolutely. All right, to everyone who is watching, you can go ahead and visit BayAreaPanthersNetwork.com, BayAreaPanthers.com, all of our social media, and our next game on the road this upcoming Saturday. Remind us of the time because it will not be playing at the same time, 6:05 Pacific time. It will be playing at 5:05 Pacific time.
Yep, and so we're on Mountain Time right now when we go to Albuquerque. So for those who are going to follow it, go to the Indoor Football YouTube channel and follow the Bay Area Panthers. It'll be at 5:05 p.m. Pacific time as we play on Mountain Time. So it'll be a little bit earlier, but nevertheless, it's going to be a great game.
It means you can be in bed earlier as well.
There you go.
Well rested. Coach, thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Thank you for another episode of Inside the Jungle.